Welcome to Uncanny X-Minutes, where we bring you the comics behind the movies. I'm Stasia.
I'm Producer James.
And we're here to watch X-Men Origins: Wolverine, minutes 90 through 100. James, what happens in this, almost the end of this movie?
Fight.
That sounds correct.
So much fighting. That ends with Deadpool getting decapitated. Stryker shoots Wolverine in the head. Professor X saves some kids. And Silver Fox dies.
Yes.
For realsies this time.
Well, yes. In the movie universe, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into it.
Yes.
We stopped just shy of the credits.
Yes.
I think it's 10 seconds or something like that. I paused it at the credits and was like, oh, that was a close one. Next week starts on credits, almost.
Almost, yes.
We're getting right at the end of this thing.
Oh, gosh. It's whatever. At this point, it's whatever.
I mean, it ends in just big, nonsensical fighting fashion.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like you said, whatever. It is not as bad as I thought it would be, this journey.
That's true.
Because we're not the biggest Wolverine readers.
That is definitely true.
And it is proven in today's topic. Because once again, I feel like it's happened mostly in this movie where I put topics on the table.
Yeah. And
then I go to do the research and go, that's not enough. Silver Fox barely in the comics.
I know. She's such a large psychological force,
it feels like a milestone.
Force. Yeah, for my understanding of Wolverine. But now I think we have to come and face facts, James. We're just old because that's why we remember her.
Here's what it is. Her run is basically early 90s.
Yes.
Her appearances are mostly early 90s. She dies. And then we started reading either in that era or right after that era. Mm-hmm. So it's still fresh. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's still in there. If you started reading Wolverine now, you'd be like, who's Silver Fox?
You would have no idea. Yeah.
No clue. Because she's just not a part of his world anymore. Team X the Team X appearances are few and far between as time goes on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's shifted now, but I mean, during the Krakoa era, it's still Jean Grey. It's always Jean Grey.
Yeah. Or Mariko.
Yeah, or Mariko.
There are other loves. We have a whole laundry list of loves.
We went through some of them. And
all that died.
Their demises.
But Silver Fox specifically, she first appears in Wolverine number 10 from 1989. And she starts as a killed love interest. Her first on-panel appearance is Wolverine walking in with her into the bar and saying they killed her.
Par for the course.
That's how we start. Crazy. Now, I'm confused, and maybe you can help me, because there is she died, and a lot of her appearances are flashbacks, and any Team X appearances are flashbacks. But there is this small moment of time where she's part of Hydra.
It's not her clone.
It's a clone. Is that what they decided?
Yes. It's not actually her. It's not really a clone because it's not explained. But
okay, I thought it wasn't explained.
But what is explained is that it's not her. Silver Fox really died.
Okay.
So
that's what I thought.
That puts that character in a weird limbo then, because you're like, what happened then? This was clearly, it has to be a clone because she died, not because the story said she was a clone. Does this make sense?
Yes, that's why I'm confused. I didn't dig too deep because I was like, I honestly do not care. But the fact that she comes back in and that if you search Silver Fox, that's the outfit that pops up.
Yeah.
It pops up with a Hydra outfit.
Yeah.
And
it's the most recent.
It's her most recent, and it's okay. I
don't know what else to say because
that one dies too. So
yes, I mean
whatever.
Silver Fox is dead, but it is inevitable because of the retcons. I am convinced that storyline is purely because they could never decide whether or not his memories were real.
Yeah.
And then when they did decide that the memories were real, you had this Silver Fox clone person that they were like, what do we do with this?
I think there was a story or in one of those stories where they say that the memories they were giving them were mostly negative. And why would they give them such a nice memory? So the whole cabin and with her is all supposed to be real. And they do find the cabin later, and that's where she's buried.
Yeah.
But, you know, this all still goes... I felt bad because, like, we didn't talk about her during the slain lovers conversation.
Because we were going to talk about it.
Because we're going to talk about it now, but apparently there was nothing more. This is all there is to it. Like, the birthday slaughters started here and ended here. Like...
Yes, but the birthday slaughters are so iconic.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
And that's why she's famous.
And so it's tough because she exists and she died, and I thought she would have more to talk about. But me and you don't read a lot of Wolverine, so here we are. She had exactly 20 appearances.
It's like shocking to me because I'm like, I've read them all.
And
20 is not that many.
And some of those appearances are just like a splash page of his memories.
Right.
I feel like 4 of them are that.
Crazy.
There is a more recent book in 2021 called Marvel Voices Indigenous Voices with her and like her lover before Wolverine going on a mission.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's just a short little story. It's very I check it out.
Okay, I'd read that. I wish that she's a character that's really interesting, and then like a big half of those appearances probably are the clone. So probably. Like it's not even really Silver Fox.
There are the Team X appearances, which we had already talked about all those from the Team X episodes.
Yeah.
But instead of that,
yes,
we were trying to think like who has, because her powers are not hypnosis. They're not tactile hypnosis.
The powers that are in the movie are not Silver Fox's powers at all. Silver Fox possesses an accelerated healing and an age suppressant.
Yep. So she's not even around long enough to have cool powers.
Yeah.
Cool beans. I love that it's a healer and then she died. And that's all she's known for.
I know. It's... Whew.
So instead of talking about Silver Fox today, we're going to talk about Empath.
Well, the reason we're doing this is because just like the powers are probably the closest to Empath's powers. The ones that she's using in this movie, which are cool. Like they are about manipulating people.
It's technically, I think the way it's written is tactile hypnosis. So when she's touching someone, she can tell them what to do unless you're Sabretooth, most likely for plot reasons.
Right.
I kind of read it that it was maybe due to his healing factor, possibly.
Interesting.
In which case, Wolverine also couldn't be. Yeah.
And so
which would mean that their relationship was real, and she wasn't manipulating him.
If that's the case. Only in the books.
Right.
Right. Which I think is true because I don't think she's a bad guy because anyway. Ignoring the comics here.
It's confusing and complicated and semi-complicated only because, multiple writers writing multiple books.
Exactly.
But let's talk about Empath.
Speaking of multiple writers writing multiple books.
I know. Empath's real name is Manuel Alfonso Rodrigo de la Roca.
Yes, it is.
He is part of the Hellions, which is Emma Frost's, basically her version of the New Mutants in the Massachusetts Academy. Mm-hmm. And his first appearance was in The New Mutants number 16 in 1984. And he's still around.
He is. He was in Krakoa.
Yeah. Yeah, he was on the Krakoan Hellions.
Yes.
He has the psionic ability to sense and control the emotions of others. Yeah. Which is probably the closest to...
Yes. To what Silver Fox is showing here. Unlike Silver Fox, he does not have to touch people.
No. He does not.
He can do it from a distance and quite a lot of people. So
that's for certain.
Yes. Empath is a very interesting character because it is.
I think we have mentioned him briefly before.
Yes, because I have an insane love for the New Mutants. And that's why. That's literally the only reason why.
End of story.
This is not a common knowledge. We usually are telling you about some stuff, maybe some like kind of fun, quirky things that happen deep down in the books, but generally we stick to like bigger characters. Mm-hmm. This is not one. This is just for me.
You know what though? I was reading all of Krakoa and jumped into Hellions, and I was like, oh yeah, Empath sounds familiar, but I didn't have a deep knowledge of him until I did research for it.
So Empath is set up in one of those early comics where he's like, if pure evil had a face, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, he is supposed to be, originally when they first start, like a sociopath. They literally say things like this, where he is so used to controlling everybody around him. He does it by default. He makes everybody like him. He changes their emotions to be more favorable to him, and he does it all the time, and he treats people like puppets. That is the sales pitch. And it makes sense when you understand the context of it, right? These are the evil group of teens that are supposed to be like the foil to the New Mutants, which are the good kids with Xavier. So like, all of the Hellions were originally like bad guys. They're just like, and
a few of them switched.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I didn't realize Thunderbird was a Hellion.
Yes, he was. And then the other way around.
That's crazy.
Magma becomes a Hellion in that storyline too.
I was reading they did put in there that Empath got his powers at an unusually young age, so that what you were saying is even worse. So when he was young, he was manipulating people to his whim.
Yes.
Without even knowing. So he is only used to people responding to him in the way he likes.
Yeah. I want to be...
sociopath.
Yes. I want to be clear, though. Like, he is both capable of not knowing he's affecting people, which is a huge plot point for him, which we'll get to. But he is also intentionally manipulating everybody.
For sure.
So it is both that he can do it without knowing, but that everything for a very long time was very intentional despite that.
Yeah.
And they make that pretty clear.
I feel like it's like ramping up the power. Like, he keeps it on a low simmer most of the time.
Yeah.
And doesn't realize that, like, if he's attracted to someone, they will be attracted to him, possibly.
Yeah.
But then when he ramps it up, he gets these little, like, pink, like, little...
Oh, in the Krakoa era, they do.
Oh, no, this is in the New Mutants,
in the New Mutants, too.
There's like this little effect on, like, next to his eyes.
To the
this
eyes.
little, like, blue, like, pink flash to show that he's using his powers. And I feel like that's when he's, like, trying to specifically get you to do something or feel a very specific way.
Yeah. Some other stuff about his powers, like, generally this is a temporary thing. He has to be concentrating on making it happen, though it does not take a lot of concentration to do a large group of people with him. And we'll get there in a second. Yeah. But, like, it's not, I don't know if people know if it's permanent, but there are, like, stories that make his powers really inconsistent as to how long they can last and how much he has to be focusing on it.
I feel like it's almost Pavlovian at some point, where it's like, if you keep, or like like Clockwork Orange, where it's like, if you see something and you feel the feeling, you might associate the two eventually if enough time has passed. Like, if you do it enough.
Yeah, maybe.
It becomes a learned behavior as opposed to a manipulated one.
Towards him?
Towards him or towards others, like, it's usually towards him.
Yeah.
Like, that's probably where we're more getting to, but yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed in one of my rereadings of the New Mutants and stuff was that he makes an allusion to the fact that he can't control feeling people's emotions, and that's why he controls them, or part of the reason why he does it.
Yeah.
So this reminded me a lot of Jean Grey, and considering it's like the mid to late 80s, it made sense that they were drawing that parallel. When they start introducing this concept is when his interactions with the New Mutants have started a crush on one of the New Mutants named Magma, whose name is Amara. Sometimes it's Allison, but...
Oh, really? I didn't read Allison at all.
Allison Cressmore?
Oh, I did. Oh, you're right.
Yes,
Yeah.
So we'll get there. That. Yeah, we've got time. It's fine.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Yeah. I've only heard her as Amara, but I did read the Allison.
Yes,
too,
yeah. So there is a point where he starts having a crush, and these are teenagers. They're supposed to be young. They're the young kids.
They're definitely drawn young. They're definitely portrayed young.
100%. This is before cable, so this is like the New Mutants, like in the kid era.
They're all wearing the uniforms.
Yeah. And like he starts having a crush on her, and like those feelings start to make him more of a gray character.
Yes.
And they introduce this concept of the fact that he like doesn't know whether or not he's affecting her. Well, actually, he doesn't think he is, because like she starts to have a crush on him too, until Emma Frost, who is his teacher, tells him.
So this is more evil Emma Frost. Like,
oh, this is 100% evil Emma Frost.
This is not post Morrison.
No.
Emma Frost.
No.
This is early days.
This is good old fashioned
Yes.
Emma Frost. They're in the Hellfire Club.
Yeah.
And she's telling him, but she tells him truthfully that, you know, he's definitely putting some low level manipulation onto Amara to make her like him more. Once they start doing that, you've got this very cool push and pull between this guy who is supposed to be and has been introduced as very irredeemably evil.
Yes.
That they almost immediately tried to gray instead of being so evil.
Yeah.
Because it makes sense. Like, I mean, really, how evil are you going to buy a child? I mean, he's a teenager, but like still at the end of the day, like he's a kid. And so
the only ways to go are he ends up dying somehow,
right.
or you not redeem him, or at least make him a little more likable in some way. You got to make him interesting. That's why Magneto wasn't always, you know, wringing his hands, twirling his mustache the entire time. He became more interesting.
Yeah. And the kind of defining moment of that, when he becomes, I think, the most sympathetic and the softest, when he talks about how he feels emotions for people around him, and as he controls that as a way to reduce the noise, is when he is returning to Nova Roma with Magma, her home, and he's going to go meet her dad.
Should I explain what Nova Roma is?
Go ahead and explain Nova Roma, and don't forget the retcon.
Oh, my goodness. Okay,
and then the unretcon.
So Nova Roma is a hidden city in the Amazon jungle, okay? It was put there after the death of Julius Caesar by Romans, and it is just like a hidden city of it's like a Roman hidden city in the jungle.
Yes, it's a Roman like empire.
Yeah.
Like it's like stuck in time.
Right. So Magma's dad is like royalty. He's a senator there. And when she goes back to visit him, we get this retcon later that it wasn't a Roman city. It was Selene that did it.
Do you know why that retcon was there?
No.
Because it's because of Empath. So
is that how they retconned the retcon? Because like
correct.
They show up and Empath. Oh my goodness, should we get deep? I mean, like, go ahead and do the Empath stuff with. Because he goes there with her.
He does.
And then they both disappear from the comics for a while.
For a really long time. So basically, they're going to Nova Roma. They're having a romance in the jungle. He realizes eventually that Amara is stalling because she doesn't actually want to go home because
she's supposed to marry someone.
There's an arranged marriage. They go, long story short, there's some comic stuff, but like her, the dad, and him, it ends up being where she gets to the point where like she is, the arranged marriage has been called off, and they like live in Nova Roma.
Yeah.
They effectively wrote them out of the comics, and that's why I think that Empath is so sympathetic and in gray, because like I feel like they were trying to resolve this character a little bit of like he really wasn't evil. He was a bad kid with Emma Frost, which is a horrible influence too, and then like he fell in love with this person and he's doing his best, and he's, you know, they're gonna go live in the jungles alone in Nova Roma, and like that was kind of where it left off for a little bit until the X-Men return to Nova Roma.
It was the New Warriors.
Thank you.
But the New Warriors are Thunderbird,
right,
and Firestar,
which is why they go to Nova Roma,
which are X-Men. So like,
right.
You're not wrong.
Anyway, and also Thunderbird knows Empath and stuff.
Right.
This is when you get the retcon that. Well, this is not a retcon. They go there. Empath has controlled the entire city psychologically, including Amara. So he has gone from unredeemably evil to kind of gray, sympathetic. and then back to irredeemably evil, kind of, in a lot of ways here.
I think secluding yourself to a smaller town is a good way to write off an empath character, where you're like, oh, you only have a smaller pool of people that you can kind of manipulate. So like you kind of either are going to be always manipulate them and nobody notices, or you can actually like wean yourself off of having so many emotions around you.
Right. In any case,
it's the first one.
It's the first one. It's the first one. Sorry. Because basically they get there. That's what happens. They break his mind control. The rationale for the mind control is that when he got into the minds of everybody, he also got like the information that Celine, who we have talked about before in this podcast, but I don't think we've done a deep dive on her.
No.
Maybe a half one.
Yeah.
All you're gonna get, so go back and listen to that. But like,
maybe later in a future episode, but not right now.
Not right now. Celine is like kind of one of the oldest. We talked about her when we were talking about the oldest mutants.
Yeah, probably.
And he says that he found out that she created the city basically as a method to like feed her ego to relive her glory days in Rome, and that it's literally a plaything. This is very in line for Celine.
And brainwashed the entire city.
And brainwashed the whole city. But because she got bored and left, also very in line with Celine, it started to fade. Yeah. And like, so he hypnotized everybody or controlled everybody's emotions in order to maintain what little magic there was left. But this is also when we find out that he gives Amara her real name. Like, actually, you were a woman British. That was stolen from England, and your name is Alison Cressmore. They re-retconned that retcon, and they were like, actually, it wasn't even about Empath, that re-retcon. Yeah. It was like, no, Nova Roma is real, to which then you have to no-prize it, being like, well, Empath sucks, so like he was just lying and he was a jerk. Like that's
he's
literally
trying to save face, I guess.
Something
I don't know.
Like and that's how you have to write that off.
Because it's not even like a line. Like it's a whole thing. Like it's panels of like, oh, this is that, and then that, and all these things, and you're like, oh, okay, crazy.
Yeah, you're like, Celine, yeah, she's crazy and she's got magic and she's weird and like a vampire.
That all tracks, at least, you know.
If you're going to, it's like blaming it on Sinister, right? You're like, yeah, okay. Like, I'm sure.
Blaming it on Romulus.
Woof.
Where you're like, okay, yeah, I guess Romulus was behind it.
I'm going to argue that Celine is much more interesting than Romulus.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. But I'm saying with like when we were reading Origins, they're trying to blame everything on Romulus.
Yes, yeah. This is definitely something they were like, we can blame Celine. And everyone's like, yeah, that tracks. She's old enough. It works.
Sure.
And shallow enough to just leave an entire civilization there. Okay. We're running out of time. And I've got so much more to talk about. We got to leave Nova Roma. We gave you that.
Well, it was important. Like that was a big part of his story.
I mean, he spends most of the time in the comics when he's not actually in the comics in Nova Roma. Yeah. Okay. A couple other highlights if you want to read more about Empath. He works with Sunspot at X Corp in LA and you will not believe it, once again, Extreme X-Men. It haunts my dreams. Number 31 to 35.
You need to start reading it, Staj.
I am positive at this point I've read it all, just completely out of order.
You had to. Just
I literally
for
have had
purposes.
to. Yes. During that period of time, he meets up with Magma again because Magma... So Sunspot is one of the original New Mutants. Magma also, so they're friends. Things happen. Empath is working with Sunspot. Don't worry, he betrays them all. But he's really sad about it because he forces Sunspot and Amara to make out. And then he watches and cries a little while his evil guy is with him. It's so silly. Extreme X-Men is so weird. Anyway.
Yeah. But they make big moves, and I am here for it.
They do make big moves, I will say that. One of the other big moves is that, well, this is actually Son of M, so this is not Extreme X-Men. I'm going to put this correctly. There is a period of time kind of right around this era where Amara is still kind of mad at Empath for, controlling her whole civilization and stuff. And
it's Son of M, that's post M Day?
Yes.
So because he's one of the few that kept their powers.
That is correct.
Yeah.
So Son of M is actually about Pietro.
I was gonna say it's about Quicksilver.
It's about Quicksilver, but he's in it. During that period of time, there's an introduction of another character that is brought up in X Corp in LA. So while Amara's mad at Empath, she thinks that he's controlling her still, and like just
because you would always think that.
That's the problem with Empath. You can't trust your feelings around him.
Yeah.
Unless, and we'll get there, there are actually ways to beat him. And
being Emma Frost is just one of them.
Yeah, that is one of them. But the other thing is she's actually not being controlled by Empath. She's being controlled by somebody else.
Oh, no.
A man whose name is John, nicknamed Johnny D, D-E-E.
Do we really need the quote Johnny?
I do, because it's so ridiculous.
He just can't be Johnny
D.
He
also showed up in Krakoa. When I dug into this guy.
Interesting.
I know. So he's a dude that has a sentient mouth in his chest. So like a little lower than Chamber, so his face is still there.
I have definitely read this guy
with the
before.
Tentacles. Yeah, you've read him in Krakoa. That's
must
got to be the. It's in Marauders, which you've read, and I know you have.
That's probably it.
Very briefly, but basically, it's strange because the mouth in his chest makes voodoo dolls from DNA samples that he drops in there, and then he controls them.
Okay.
So he's actually requires touch and can control people.
Okay. So he's
in a way,
little like Silver Fox.
A little like Silver Fox.
Okay.
But like the touch is not like maintaining it. It's like he has to touch you, grab a piece of your hair or something, and then so you could drop it into the mouth and then
a
make
little puppet mastery.
A voodoo doll. But he doesn't make the voodoo doll. The mouth does. And very specifically, I read in the research that he does not believe that he and the mouth are the same person. So people are...
Now, the picture that if you look up Johnny D, it's literally a mouth in his chest.
Correct.
Like, we're not talking a maggot situation. We're talking, it is like a chamber thing.
According to the online wiki, which I did not go and count these, he has been displayed as showing anywhere between 4 to 20 tentacles coming out of his mouth chest. So, important to note.
That's an artist's choice.
It's an artist's choice. So I that was it. Basically, it was pretty funny. The only reason I even know about Johnny D is because we do this crazy podcast.
Yeah,
and also like
you go down some rabbit holes in this podcast.
And it was a whole subplot because literally Amara, aka Magma, thinks that it's Empath controlling her when it's actually Johnny D. And
Johnny D, get out of here.
I know. So I thought that was pretty compelling. And also to be one of the few mutants that like doesn't get snapped and then also be in Krakoa and yet be completely irrelevant and you've never even heard of him is hilarious.
Yeah. No, seeing the picture, I'm like, oh, I've seen him before, but he's not. He's had 11 appearances. I've looked it up.
Yeah.
He's
less than Silver Fox.
I probably read him in Civil War X-Men as well.
Back to Empath, though, because he's like the main one.
Sure.
He has an increased powers by Madeline Pryor.
Okay.
She spanks them into him, and which with all of the implication that comes with, because she is the Red Queen and she is starting the Hellfire cult. Very uncanny X-Men 500 to 503 if you're interested. This is also where you find out how you can beat him. So he has fought off both Professor X, but barely because Professor X was injured, and Emma Frost basically when he was still really young. But as an adult or older, quote unquote, because age in X-Men comics are
elastic.
Made up. Pixie uses her soul dagger to stab him in the head, which both cuts him off to his power and blinds him physically. And prevents him from using his powers. And he stays that way in prison.
I feel like
till Krakoa.
I feel like he needs his eyes. So him not seeing, I don't think it's explicit, but the way that his powers manifest in the art make me think he needs to see.
Yeah, in Nova Roma, they broke his control by like psychically tremoring, like breaking his concentration. Yeah. So it's a little dicey. And soul daggers are kind of weird because they're not like just regular.
They're magic.
Yeah, they're magic.
On top of being whatever.
A dagger. But
and he's in the Hellions in the Krakoan era is interesting because he's part of a group of people who aren't quite breaking the laws of Krakoa to be thrown in the pit like Sabretooth, but they are troublesome. And Empath is just a troublesome person who just was causing fights with his powers because he thought it was funny. He basically had a bunch of his former Hellion teammates from the 80s fighting. One of them was Cat's Eye, who can turn into a cat, and he thought it was funny because it's a bunch of the girls fighting and it's a cat fight.
Yeah, that tells you a lot.
That's empath humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did read the end of that, which was very sad. The end of Hellions is so depressing.
That run's very interesting, though.
Yeah,
it is very depressing, but it is interesting when you have a paradise where all people get a second chance and you still have irredeemables.
Yes, and that's what Hellions is about, and
which is a good title for that book,
big,
for sure.
Huge spoiler, but I think it's very important for Empath and where we are with him at the end of this, with X-Men. At the end of this, of Hellions, it's Empath. He's being yelled at by his teammates because he lives in the same area because they assign you living quarters with people that you used to work with. So he's with his team and he's done something horrible to them, and I won't get into that. But not like technically what he should have done. Like Krakoa is happy with him, but his teammates isn't. So it's like weird that he's kind of done a quote unquote good thing, but everybody hates him for it, and justifiably. Let me say that. And then his eyes flash, and then everybody's like, "Oh my God, we missed you so much," and it's just like him sad and surrounded but alone, and that is who Empath is.
Yes.
And
that's like a mature empath who realizes that, like, yeah, you can manipulate everyone around you, but then nobody is themselves.
It's too bad that, and I looked to see if there's any more recent. I am tied to Marvel Unlimited, so if there's anything even newer, I cannot say if he's in it or not.
Yeah.
But that's the last time we've seen him, and what a horrific ending for now until maybe they rewrite him in again. But
he actually is in NYX.
Oh, okay.
So I won't say any more.
Okay, so this is truly cutting edge.
But it's all I'll say.
Interesting. Okay, great. Well, now that I've read a good portion of Marauders, maybe I'll just move on.
I think the news, though, I read recently is NYX is getting canceled, but
all the
bleeding
good
edge.
All the good things get canceled.
Okay, so post Krakoa is called From the Ashes, and I think they've already cut 3 of the books, like within 6 issues.
Fun. All
yep.
right.
Good
cool.
times.
Great times, everybody. Woo.
People, we were all excited about Krakoa, but not everyone's gonna stay around for the party.
Yeah, I mean it's also tough because I think I've had, you guys have heard Brian is not a huge X-Men person, but like
he's our Avengers guy.
He's catching up to X-Men because he's married to me and he has to, and he's been like following my reading guide, and the number of times he's like walked over to me with Marvel Unlimited, and he's like, which X-Men one from Krakoa is it? Because there's 3 X-Men, 2019, 2021, and 2023 or 2024, whatever the last one, 2022. And I'm like, it's 19 until you get to this part, and then it's 2021, and then I get it. I'm sure that they lost people with that.
Yeah, they've restarted too many times. But like something like X-Force has 50, like
I know.
What are we doing?
Silly.
If you're going to do a Krakoan era, just keep the numbering, y'all.
I know.
There's 3 different Hellfire galas. Which one's which?
You literally can't
tell by the cover.
No, and it's a problem. It really is. It's bad. Anyway, this is what you've got us for. If you want to start with Krakoa, you're looking for X-Men 2019. You heard it here first. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Stasia.
I'm Producer James.
And we'll see you for the next 10.